Hey you guys, it's Patricia. The article I found was on the U.S. News and World Report website, which was uploaded on January 14, 2020, by Robert Preet. The article is about how 1 in 4 children with autism go undiagnosed within the U.S. Robert states that there are so many children within the U.S. that go undiagnosed with autism for years that eventually it affects their lifestyle as they grow up and as they mature. In the article, Robert states that 1 in every 4 of a group of 8-year-olds go undiagnosed or remain with little to no autism services. Majority of the children that go without services are the minority race, specifically the African American and the Hispanic community. They did a study to find out why more minorities go undiagnosed, but there was little correlation. Investigators suggested that it would have something to do with the cultural barriers these ethnic groups face, which can mean language differences or medicinal cultural differences as well. Robert states that a lot of parents associate signs of autism with more behavioral and medical issues than with the developmental ones. In the study, Robert refers to there was an average of over 260,000 participants, which were consisting of 8-year-olds in the year of 2014. And 4,500 of those children were diagnosed with having autism. And 25% of that number had not been diagnosed before. And within that 25% of that number, the majority race was African American and Hispanic. And it was noted that within that percentage of the African American and Hispanic boys, they did struggle a lot academically and behaviorally, and they developed at a way less faster pace than the other kids. It was also stated that even though they had minor cases of autism, which were very mild and you could barely recognize, they weren't diagnosed up until they were 8 years old, which usually they diagnose children who may be at risk of autism while they're 3 years old. And then they asked the parents if they had ever had any concerns for their children before. And the parents had stated that yes, they did have concerns for their children while they were at the age of 3 years old. But they never got tested because the doctors never suggested it. And because the parents were also nervous about asking the questions anyways. Which comes again back to the cultural differences about maybe language barriers or not having enough money, stuff like that. And then in the study, they suggested a couple of solutions that could go to helping out the kids that go undiagnosed with autism. And one of the solutions was that they have mandatory screenings for children around the ages of 3 and under, or like 3 and a little bit above, to see that they if they have any autism or if they are at risk. And then they also suggested that since parents get very nervous with the process of knowing that their children is having autism, they also suggested that they have better visuals, better pictures, and they have certain navigators so they can explain to a parent about the treatment process, about what autism is, and how they can help their own child. So it'll make it easier on them, and it'll be easier for them to understand as well. And then they also suggested in the study that they should regulate health laws and insurance laws to where they can to where the insurance carriers can pay for autism treatments and services while the child is barely known as like a at risk of having autism, instead of when they're already diagnosed. So that way parents are better prepared, and so is the child with getting the correct treatment and services. And from a social worker perspective, I really do care about something like this, because autism is seen sort of like a disability, and it's really not. You just have to see how that person is and what kind of case they have, whether it's mild or whether it's severe, because there are like the article stated, there are treatments to go to, but a lot of people go undiagnosed, and a lot of people go without the financial needs to go to a doctor and get treatment. And I believe that's very important, because as social workers, we hold integrity and we hold also social justice to where we should be able to do something for these people. We should be able to help them, find good treatments, find places where they can get treatments too. And I believe it's a very important topic, because I have a cousin who has Down syndrome, and I want to say she might have a little bit of autism from the research that I have done with the symptoms of autism. But like the study stated, a lot of parents get nervous when they hear about that, so she also goes undiagnosed. But I really think that's a very important topic and current event to be focused on, because autism can get severe, so it should be treated as such. Thank you.